Well, that's true. That's true, except for when you're from the phone.
They're very good.
Oh, well, that's why we stopped by this morning. We thought you guys would be able to have coffee.
Is there anyone who's currently successfully logged on to the Jeffco?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, it's not
Log on to
Jeffco
the
House,
Jeffco
it's
guest.
the Fairgrounds guest.
Fairgrounds.
Use the Jeffco guest.
Fairgrounds guest.
Fairgrounds
Sorry,
guest.
Fairgrounds guest. You cannot log into Jeffco, that's a private system.
Fairgrounds guest is responding for me.
I'm just hanging out.
Right over there in that big room, and there's bagels and candy. And big fat donuts. I get you guys can't talk. Hey.
Runs his flight information so I can tell her because she's like hanging feet.
I'll steal hers. Oh, yeah, we flew in. You got good paper too.
Are you an alternate trustee?
No,
Okay. Didn't get anything saved there?
no, I'm just hanging out. You gonna kick me out?
No, never. I just didn't know if.
No,
I didn't know
Kenny's
that.
here and
No, there's
I don't need
just-
to be Florida this
No.
time either, so.
That's your place.
For the charade. They don't breathe sometimes.
Anybody else need connected while we're in
Oh, wait.
I was shocked.
They landed, so it'll be a little while. Just tell me when I need to go.
They have your contact information. When he changes trains, he's gonna text you.
Okay.
You.
Well, Jeff is, Jeff's a Texas person, so we've been up there for 2 years. I've lived there all the time. And I just, you know, we really love hanging out. The sirens will go off and he'll run just about how much time we'll get.
But then I got here, I was like, this is an album with this. So finally, I was like,
So it's black.
well, number 3 was,
So then I showed him how
Time is 10 o'clock. A quorum appears to be present, and I call this meeting of the International
Priscilla?
Radio Association Board of Directors to order. I would like to welcome all of you to this meeting and to Golden, Colorado, the site of Rocky Mountain Regional Rodeo number 34. Also my host association, Home Association, so welcome to Denver, to each of you. Today, I have no new members of the board to introduce, and I am not aware of any alternates to introduce. Am I,
There were two alternates.
who do we have as alternates?
Alan Thomas for Cotton State
And I don't see Alan in the room at present.
and Michael Norman for KSGRA.
Ah, Michael, well, welcome to the meeting as an alternate for KSGRA. We're happy to have you with us today. Ron, if you would please proceed with the roll call. And for everyone, there is one sheet for you to sign in if you're a member of the board, another if you are a guest today. And Michael, you sign in on the board sheet since you are in that place today.
Bruce Grove,
Here?
Jason Bernard,
here.
here, David Hill,
Here.
Bob Pimentel,
Here.
Tom Lott,
Here.
Roger Chapp,
Here.
Alan Thomas, Lisa Smith,
Here.
Barbara Bug,
Here.
Bruce Roby,
Present.
Joy DiDizio, Michael Norman,
Here.
David Hallwood, Kenneth Hall, Guy Puglisi, Brian Helander,
Present.
Gene Frakes,
Here.
Franklin Thompson,
Here.
Candy Pratt,
Here.
Merlin Jackson, Chuck Browning, Terry Covington.
Present.
There is a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the rules of debate as per those used at convention? So moved. It is moved by Guy Puglisi, a second. Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? There being no discussion, all in favor of adopting the rules of debate, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes. The rules of debate are adopted. We have the approval or the consideration of the minutes of the Board of Directors meeting of May 6th in Palm Springs. Is there a motion to approve? Terry, is
Moved.
there a second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the board meeting minutes of May 6th, 2016. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it, the motion passes, the minutes are approved. In my remarks today, first and foremost, I want to say how pleased I am that we are able to be together once again and conduct the business of our association and enjoy a rodeo weekend together. This is our first time together face-to-face since the events in Florida. And it's been several weeks, and of course, our immediate reactions and passions have had an opportunity to calm down, but nonetheless, it is a reminder to all of us here and out watching at home that it is a gift to be able to spend this time with one another. And let us treasure it while we can. Because although in January when I closed the university, I spoke about the fact how when we began, we didn't always know that those present with us would be with us the next time because of the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, but life is still uncertain even today. And while we have it, we should treasure it and treasure one another. As far as that incident is concerned, clearly it struck at the heart of our community. And for many of us, deeply personally, whether or not we knew somebody who was there, knew somebody who knew somebody was there, or not. This is our family that was attacked in a very direct and brutal way. And I think it's difficult for any of us not to feel that, although I certainly won't speak to what each of you experienced. However, from watching Facebook and the events and people that I was around in that time, it's very clear to me that it allowed us not only to come to grips personally with realities of our struggle as members of this community in the broader world, but also to find a voice that perhaps we may not have had before to help share that experience with those around us who do not understand the struggle and the pain and the challenge that we can face every day in our lives simply by being who we are. Usually I'm somebody who's quite able to, express himself. And in the light of that particular instance, I found myself without a coherent voice for a while. Which I find unusual, but I mean, it's a human reaction, I certainly understand it, but just the raw and visceral nature of that experience for me was just among the most intense experiences of my life. Since that time in the world, there have been a number of other serious attacks in other venues. But this one strikes us particularly because it was us, our family. There's speculation was the motivation religious fervor? Was it an act of domestic terror? Was it a hate crime? Was it a self-hate crime? I don't know the answer, and frankly, it's probably a mix of many things, which we may never know. But what I do know is it's given us an opportunity to remind ourselves of who we are, of the importance of what we do. We've been at this over 30 years. This is 40 years for gay rodeo. And of course, the struggles within our community and to find acceptance in the broader world go long, longer than that. Even though Stonewall was 40 years, this is the Stonewall of today's generation in a completely different and more brutal way. And it will help give rise to a new sense of activism and self-searching and perhaps even militancy within our community. But remember, we are about changing stereotypes and providing a place of acceptance for all. It's a natural reaction to become insular and reactive to an incident like this, where we want to build up walls, where we want to circle the wagons. But who we are is an association that works to build bridges, to foster understanding and acceptance of us by others, but of others by us. So let us remember that's part of our character, and not react in such a way that we begin to push away or push out people whom we should incorporate within our family. So when we talk about building stereotypes, or excuse me, breaking stereotypes, let's remember that that applies not only to what we're doing with the outside world, but what we're doing within ourselves. The incident raises a practical matter that we have to remind ourselves of as leaders within our organization. We have an obligation when we plan events, particularly rodeos and major events of that nature. We have an obligation, both a moral one from the standpoint of being people who are organizing and responsible for activities, but also one in terms of our insurance and things like that, to make certain we have in place an emergency response plan. Now, we can't control something like that if it were to occur at one of our events. All we can do is know that we have a plan in place for how to respond and how to handle it. So when you are planning your rodeo, especially, and other major events, remind yourselves it is your obligation to provide for those plans, to know who the points of contact are, the avenues, that you need to follow, and literally avenues of escape if need be, but, where are the resources? Who do you have to contact? What do you have to do in case of all kinds of potential incidents that could affect us, all right? It's not, we do our best to plan, for circumventing them or heading them off, but if it should ever occur, God forbid, know what steps, know who's the persons that you need to turn to, what is the series of activities, steps that occur in something like that. How do you provide for, a reaction or evacuation, verification of your personnel, what is that all about? That's our job. All right. Now, speaking of other things, I'm going to take a drink of water here. Surprisingly, that's not the only thing that happened in the world in the last few months. Within our own association, we have suffered the loss of two of our associations with the cessation of operations with IGRA. IGRA no longer exists. They're no longer a member of this association. They conduct no business or activities. Their members have had to seek membership elsewhere, and I know a number of associations have reached out to offer them the opportunity to do that. And I hope for the most part we've succeeded in finding places where they can align and find a new home. There are members of the former IGRA Board of Directors who will be here this weekend, and they are here to show us that they still care about us and what we do, that they're still interested in being a part of it. They're here to reassure us that they did what they did under the exercise of good counsel from legal sources who told them this was the most appropriate way for them to proceed in handling their affairs under the circumstances. And, just to kind of, be face to face with us again. And, they're looking for us to support them. They've been through an awful, awful lot. Even though some of us may have moments of tension or causes of conflict because of it, just remember we're all in this together. We'll get through it, we'll get past it. The good news about IGRA is that there are remnants, members of that association, who have already expressed an interest to us of finding a way to return gay rodeo to Canada. And I'm very happy to know that our membership chair has already been in contact with some people there about that. Don't know when or how it'll play out, but I just want you to know that we do believe that Canada will be back in some form as part of our International Gay Rodeo Association before too long. I mentioned that we suffered the loss of another association. Last week, the Louisiana State Gay Rodeo Association notified us that while they continue their operations, they have decided at this time to disaffiliate with IGRA. And principally, they want to focus on their local community, on building up membership, on their financial impact in the local community, and let's face it, the money that they have to pay for us for insurance and membership fees can be a drain on a small association who doesn't have a lot of fundraising support or members. So they've chosen at this time to look internally and see if they can build up in their area before they come back to us as part of our association. Now, what does this mean for us? It means, first and foremost, that any of their members who want to continue to participate have to find a home elsewhere. They only have a few members who are directly affected by that, but I think several of them already do belong to multiple associations. It also means that while they continue their operations, we want them to remain closely aligned with them, even though they're not a member of a recognized association, so that we can foster a relationship that may eventually bring them back into the fold. It also means, however, that there is not an entity affiliated with or recognized by IGRA that operates in Louisiana. And that certainly potentially, means that we may make decisions in the future independently of what LSGRA is doing for our own benefit. I don't know what that might be, and no one certainly has an idea or plan expressed to us, but I just want you to understand that, for lack of a better word, Louisiana is now open territory, within our family, although I think for the time being we probably want to see if we can, go down that path together to see about reaffiliation. This is our meeting at which we're going to receive a report from World Gay Rodeo Finals Committee about their recommendations for the future. I hope and believe that they have done all their due diligence to arrive at a decision recommendation for us with the best available information and the best available resources available for us today. With that in mind, I am hopeful that we will be in a place today where we can act upon their recommendation. But if we feel that we are not there yet, we need to express that, and we need to either, ask them for whatever it is we feel we need, or we need to work within ourselves about taking their information, digesting it, and acting upon it. But whatever decision we make about 2017, I believe that we need to be looking at 2017 and 2018 together, because in this process of them trying to identify and isolate viable options for us for the future, one of the difficulties they found is that forward planning for an event like this is absolutely essential 2 years out, or we do not have dates available in locations that are desirable for us. They'll speak more to that, I'm sure, as they give their report, but I just want you to know that if we're not today beginning to look at 2019 and beyond, then we are daily narrowing the potential possibilities of where we might be in the future. Also, with regard to WGRF, I want to remind you that we will soon be determining how many and what kinds of people we want to join that team for the coming year. As rodeo directors, the executive board will be working through that and putting information in the field. But I encourage you now to put that word out into your associations that we need and want people who want to be involved with that program. Among the things that program does not only is plan our World Gay Rodeo Finals for us, but it also is a training ground and an opportunity for people who want to improve their skills as rodeo directors or gain skills to become rodeo directors, to be involved in a program that mentors and trains them and prepares them so that they can do that not only for us, but within their local association. Reminder that you might want to silence your phones this time. We also have planning coming up for our annual convention in Austin. It is Austin, right? Yes, Austin we're going to this year. And that means the next 2 months are, for many of us, rule season. We think this is the time we need to concentrate on bylaws and standing rules and rodeo rules changes. And while it is necessary sometimes to make adjustments to our rules, I absolutely understand that. I remind you that our principal work at convention is not making adjustments to our rules, but planning programs, the activities, the policies, the priorities that will move forward our association next year and in the years to come. If that is not where our focus is, then we cannot make progress. So, do what you must with regard to rules changes, but focus, concentrate on what initiatives, what steps, what things can we do today that will plan for the future and see to it we have a good result next year and in the years to come that improve our association, make our rodeos better, give us greater coverage, increase new members, carry out our responsibilities of fostering the country western lifestyle and transmitting the skills and heritage of rodeo to new generations of participants. That's what we do. Now, when it comes to rodeo planning, today, this weekend, we're going to be reviewing and hopefully approving a number of rodeo applications for next year. And I know there's some associations that have been kind of working together about how to make adjustments to the calendar work for them and still work for us. We won't be seeing all of the proposals yet this time around. The rest will be due at annual convention at the board meeting immediately before that. But I do want to call to your attention that you will see Florida has submitted an application for next year. So they intend to be back on the circuit next year. You'll notice that there's been some changes with Palm Springs, which they have talked about with Las Vegas, so everybody who has a direct impact there is involved. But looking forward to the next set of applications, please note that while we accepted dates from everybody that they gave us last year at convention for 2017, we've not approved anything until those applications come to the board and get the approval. There are 2 associations who are indicating an interest in the same date in September of 2017. Okay? And you may submit a proposal for whatever you wish. And while I can't speak for the board today about what they might do, what we might do, I remind you that the board has expressed a disinterest in holding 2 rodeos on the same weekend with the current state of our organization. Your contestant base has expressed a strong interest in not having that occur. Our experience last year when it did occur tells us that it cut one of the rodeos down by at least a third, if not more. So I would advise the associations concerned and anybody who else might find themselves with a date in common with another association to get on the phone, work something out together so that we can avoid that and we can reconcile a program that does not require us to try to support 2 rodeos simultaneously with the current strength of our organization. Again, the board will do what it will when the time comes, but the best plan going forward at this stage in our organization is not to put yourself in a position where you're even in that dilemma. It is not planning for success to do so. The affect that I'm getting, the feedback is kind of fun today. We have a lot to do with our agenda, a number of things, awards and whatnot to do today. I do hope we're able to proceed, with due diligence, but speed as well, with still giving everything the time and attention it deserves. Roger, I believe lunch is scheduled for noon, is that correct?
Whenever you're ready.
IGRA, and in fact, Roger Japp will be providing lunch as our host today, so we thank you both, especially you, Roger, for having provided it for us. Also, there's donuts and bagels and coffee and water available for you there, so feel free to go munch on that stuff. With that, that concludes my report. Are there any questions about my report today?
I do.
Tom?
I would like to make a comment and then ask a question. The comment would be what you were saying about due diligence at rodeos, being very serious. We need to be very vigilant. We could be the next target. So we've got to watch that. My question is, IGRA, we're no longer I. Do we change our name?
You know, we became IGRA long before we were international.
Really?
And so it was aspirational from the beginning, and I would say to you in answer to that particular question, that we remain I for the time being, because at least in our hearts and our minds, we're still an international organization. We still have international membership, and so,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
the membership certainly may make a choice in that regard, but there's no need for us to act on that.
Good. Thank you.
Optimism for more.
Anyone else? And I actually have to backtrack and say I did skip one item in my report, and that is that I have made an effort recently to work with smaller and non-rodeo producing associations, particularly those who have indicated a plan to host a future rodeo. I've already gone and spent a weekend with Cotton State and done some workshopping with them, as well as working with them in fundraisers and community support. I will be doing the same thing next week in Chicago in conjunction with Ed Berry's wedding, and then on August 20th I'll be doing the same thing in Keystone. I am looking for other opportunities to work with associations, whether they intend to produce a rodeo or whether they're associations who just need or want some specific support and attention from IGRA. So with that, I really do need when I'm finished. Anyone else? Very well, we'll move on to our Vice President, Jason Bernard.
When I sent the committee report form in, I had put on there that there was a item that we needed to discuss, and that was with a team member who had not raised any money towards their minimum requirement. Since I submitted that report, I have gotten a copy of their paperwork and a copy of the check that is to be sent to David Gill. I don't know if he has received it or not. So that person now has met their financial requirement, as well as I have some other paperwork and some checks to give to David. So at this point, every team member has met their minimum financial requirement for that, for their contracts, plus more. They've raised more for World Gay Finals and whatnot. So I have been in discussion with the World Gay Finals Rodeo Committee about items for the royalty competition on Thursday night and Saturday as well, and we've worked through the issues that we need to make sure that that is taken place. We do have the auditors for that in place, as well as the judge's draw has been sent out. There was a second one that was sent out after a correction that was brought to my attention on that. So that should have been sent out to everybody as well. I did ask Ron to make a change to the application for contestants due to the changes that were made last year at convention with the entertainment versus the horsemanship, and he has graciously did that, and I believe that is now on the website for that as well. We as a team have been working very hard for sponsorships for World Gay Finals, as well as selling sponsorships for royalty sashes, crowns, and buckles. I would like to thank Tommy Channel and James Jenkins for giving me information on how to proceed on certain things. There's not really a notebook that was passed from one person to the other on how we do certain things, so I certainly appreciate their help in getting that done. I believe that the information has to be posted on the website with the application and the information for the contest later this month, so I'll get with the person to get that put on the website so it's available for potential candidates for the 2017. And that is all I have in my report. If anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions for our Vice President?
I think you did a great job, okay? Keep it up, okay?
I want
Frank?
to see down, that's why I brought my glasses. I wanted to make sure I had you in visual contact there.
You know, I have to agree with you, Frank. The royalty team has done an extraordinary job, especially for a team that is 10 people, for all 10 of them to have accomplished more than their absolute minimums with IGRA is inspiring and valuable and appreciated. Unfortunately, they're not in the room here at the moment to hear it directly, but I'll certainly make a point of telling them personally, and if you will pass it on to them as well. I have had a small little item of appreciation made for each of them, which I'll give to them over the course of the weekend when I see them. And with that, if we have nothing further for Jason, we will thank you, and we'll move on to our Secretary, Ron.
Okay. First, I want to apologize to you for getting reports at different times, but I'm sending them out as I get them, and when they come to me late, that's why you get them late. I wish I could get them all at one time to send would help, but some, as you saw, I got 2 days ago, which makes it pretty difficult. I did revise or correct the exhibits C2 and C11 that Jason referred to. They have been posted on the website. And as a reminder with that, if you or any of your members propose rules at convention that are passed, I would encourage you to look at any exhibits that are applicable in those rules and correct the exhibits at the same time. It makes it a lot easier than us having to go back, and especially this year when 2 of us were working to get the handbook done. It's so that makes it easier. It's part of the same thing. If you're proposing the rule, change the exhibit that goes with it. Also, Exhibit J was revised after the last Palm Springs meeting on May 6th. It's been posted on the website as well. As part of my duty, I have been requesting, I should say, a list of local association officers, and I've received the information from most associations. There's probably about 3 that I still don't have all of the information. And with that, then I have distributed the association president's list to the committee co-chairs, Sandy Bidwell and Randy Edlin. And as more information comes in, I'll continue to get that out to people, to that committee, so they have that. 8 nominations were received for the International Award, and I prepared ballots for voting later today for that. And then, although as trustees, there were 10 nominations received for the Trustees Award, and ballots have been prepared for that also for the trustees meeting. Although I did request all the nominations by June 22nd, so that we could, well, we need to vote today, but then also to allow plenty of time for ordering the awards and getting them in early enough that we're not rushing at the last minute. We have time to review to make sure there are no errors, all of that kind of stuff. But for appreciation awards, I know there were several associations did not send any, maybe they don't have any, but I would like to extend the date for appreciation awards through this weekend. If an association wants to give me names for your appreciation awards, I will take them through this weekend. But then I need to start getting the order together so that we have time to do that. With my report, and hopefully you all printed it, I did attach a list of service awards that I could think of, and I'd like to go through that and see if anybody knows any that I have missed, so we're making sure I'm accurate on that. I had Pierre.
And service awards are persons who've served IGRA as a member of the board of directors, as a trustee or officer, and they've completed their term of service. And that's what he's describing here.
So I have, it's surprising, I have 5 people. Pierre Cadu is secretary, and I had put my name on there as trustee. So Patrick Terry, CGRA trustee, Jackie Green, DSRA trustee, and Mark Rolla, TGRA trustee. Am I missing anybody? I went back through all my records and several times because it seemed like I can't remember when we've only had 5 service awards. Anybody?
Thank you.
I'm taking that must be correct.
If you do, remember that there was somebody in your spot before you. You need to make sure Ron knows today or this weekend so you can get that done. But otherwise, we'll accept that as gospel.
Also, to my report, I attached an updated list of the 2017 IGRA approved and tentative event dates, 2018 tentative event dates. I think this can be very helpful when we're looking at the board meeting schedule for 2017 and approval of rodeos for 2017, that you have this right in front of you without us having to go back and do some research. And a reminder that on the 5 rodeo applications that we will be working to approve today, 3 of those have revised dates from the tentative dates that were given at the 2015 convention. And I've indicated that on the list of dates with an asterisk as a reminder that they have revised dates. That's it.
Thank you, Ron. Are there any questions for the secretary regarding his report? There being none, Ron, thank you for that, and thank you for your service about, getting everything together and out for us. Appreciate it so much. You know how much it means to me as president to get all that done, and thank you very much. Treasurer David Hill, have you a report for us?
Just an update on monies to be collected. Cotton State, $279.58. Bay Area, $231.75. Illinois, $279.58. Keystone, $108.75. Michigan, $279.58. Nevada, $200. North Star, $113.30. And Sonoran, $200.
Any questions about the receivables?
Pardon?
Any questions about the receivables? Go on, David.
Well, I think it's changed.
Oh, there was one? Gene?
Did you invoice them for that 113?
Yes, just recently.
Okay.
And,
I hadn't seen it, so that's why.
Andy?
Are these all from they're part of the insurance?
Most of them are insurance that are delinquent. Keystone, they had a Pride event that they got insurance for, so that's current. And Nevada, North Star also had a Pride event. And I believe Sonoran is for a buckle something.
Finals.
Ribbons, label, or medals,
Medals.
something like that.
Finals medals, yeah.
All right, David, I didn't mean to sidetrack you. Did you have more?
No, financials are on the website. I have not gotten July done, or June done yet. We'll be working on them this weekend.
Any questions for David with regard to his report? Very well, David. Thank you, as always, for all the work you do for us. Mr. Puglisi, trustee chair.
Defer the trustee.
Very well. I do not see a Tommy Channel in the room.
He's not here, but.
All right, Veronica, go ahead and present his report for him.
It's just a quick review. I sent it out, so hopefully you all got that. But he wanted everybody to be aware that the current total membership today, based on membership lists that we've gotten, is 1,225, excluding IGRA and LSGRA. He wants to thank the associations who have been compliant with the rules regarding stock contractor liability insurance, and that is very important to work with your rodeo directors, make sure they're providing these insurance certificates in a timely manner. Been very successful with merchandise sales, and he lists the different sales that have occurred. There is still a small inventory of the bull buckle, so if you've been thinking about purchasing one, now's the time. No more will be ordered when supplies are gone. And thanks to everyone for your continued support. There were no action items.
Thank you. Although Tommy's not here, does anyone have any questions with regard to his report? Very well. We'll thank Tommy for that. Our corporate auditor, Ed Berry. Either way.
Again, I sent this out. Everything's good as usual with David as treasurer. There were no issues, nothing out of the ordinary. And it's just a normal report like you send, so I think unless anybody has questions, there again are no action items, so.
Again, because June is not done yet, it only went through May.
Any questions or comments with regard to the auditor's report? Very well. I will mention, just in case there's somebody who isn't aware, Ed gets married next weekend in Chicago. And I know several people are planning to be there, but I'm certain that, we all wish him well in his future life, and very happy for him on this occasion. It's nice to have things like that. I believe we may have other good news yet to celebrate this weekend if my prognosticating skills are any indication. If you're on the internet, you
I
can.
can't
do
even
that.
spell that.
We'll move into the standing committee reports now. Ron has reorganized the agenda into alphabetical order rather than order in the rules. So for today, we'll take it in that order. Do we have an animal issues and concerns report?
No.
No report for animal issues. Annual convention, Mary Honeycutt.
No report.
Mary is present this weekend.
Yeah, they don't.
Mary just got here after
She
driving
just
all
drove
night,
in.
so.
They got stuck in the rain and the hail
Yeah,
and everything
last
bad
night.
last night, so she's.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Glad
we
she
take
made
care
it.
of our
When she
business.
gets here, we'll call it up at that time. Association President, Sandy.
I printed one, really, I wasn't ready.
No action items on it.
We're doing well. I've been updating the Facebook page for anybody that is a president, and I have asked for some of the older presidents. I sent out a message not too long ago. There are 42 people that are signed up on the president's page where I can go out and tell them this, that, and another thing. That page is if you have a concern, a problem as a past or a present president. It's not really being utilized for that. It is being utilized for sending out posters, flyers, and things like that, which is good. But when I sent it out to the 42 different people that are registered on there, I got 6 people that answered and said, yeah, I read this, yeah, I'm part of this. So I am urging all of the presidents or people in here to tell their presidents to get the heck out there and start utilizing that page for what it's worth. There are many good aspects that you can share, especially with our new presidents, that are questioning, what am I supposed to do now? If they put it out there, you have all these opportunities and all this experience to get out there and do the same. That's pretty much what I've been doing. I'm ready for convention. So, here we go.
Sandy, may I ask, are you aware of any new presidents?
I send things out to ask for them, but no, I am not. As I do find out, I automatically, whether they like it or not, add them.
Well, as far as I know, Robin was the most recent change in president.
He's on there.
It's on the
Am I?
list.
Yes, you are. See?
I'm on there.
That'll be it.
Does anyone have any questions for Sandy with regard to the report? Very well, thank you, Sandy. We appreciate what you're doing for us, and we'll move on to budget with David Hill.
I submitted a report, nothing to report, and received no budget request. I thought we might have some from finals after this morning's meeting, but haven't heard.
Does anyone have any questions for David with regard to the budget committee report? Very well, we'll move on. Thank you, David. I believe Benjamin has nothing for bylaws and standing rules at this time.
Correct.
Community outreach, fundraising, and gender diversity, that team, do we have a report from them?
No. As far as I know, there's nothing other than that. They do have a few shows, I know, still booked in the next couple of months for fundraising.
I believe if memory serves, Terry may have a show on the horizon, is that right?
Yeah. 23rd or something.
Well, they do a very good job of making sure that we all know. If you live anywhere close to a house with Facebook on it, you probably see those posters. On the subject of fundraising, I simply want to remind us that while the bylaws say that the fundraising committee are the royalty, fundraising is everybody's responsibility. And we need to work harder about incorporating fundraising events or activities within the IGRA calendar and within our routine work. I've discussed some ideas and possibilities with the finals committee, with the fundraising committee, with the executive board of directors. But the key thing is we've got to find personnel who can carry things out. The royalty team is already very involved in things that they do. And quite frankly, it's an unfair burden to ask them to take on significantly more than what they already do for us. You know, working with them about creating new opportunities that involve other people, that's part of their job as a committee. My own personal opinion is that committee needs to be restructured so that it is not, so that we don't make it seem like it's limited to them. I think it's detrimental to IGRA, and I think it's an unjust burden on the royalty to do that. But ultimately, that will have to be dealt with by the association through our action at annual convention and beyond. But my own perception is we're not serving ourselves well with the current structure. And I think it's time that we evaluate it and reorganize that structure to make it more fruitful and more profitable for us. Money's not the answer to our needs, but it certainly is a tool we can utilize to move ourselves forward. Do we have anything on the dance committee?
There's no actual report. I just wanted to let you know that there is still a huge interest out there. We still are trying to plan something. The only weekend that was given to us with a no charge for a weekend in the month of June in Dallas was Father's Day weekend. And we did not feel like it was good to go up against Father's Day weekend. So now what we're looking at is late year or early next year of still doing something. I've got about probably 20 different dance groups from across the International Association, fathers, a lot of different interests, and people that I reached out to, some of them I guess don't watch their emails, and so late getting back answers. So I'm getting more response as weeks go by, but we are still planning something. It looks like it's going to be late fall or early next year.
Any questions for Wade about the dance program? Robert, I'm about to call you. Can you do this in 10 minutes, or we need longer than that?
That all depends on you all.
Okay, all right, let's do the first half, then we'll take a break and we'll come back and do the second part.
So, first of all, on behalf of CGRA, thank you all for being here today. Welcome to Colorado. So what we're going to do in this first half, if you're going to take a break, we'll talk about finals this year, 2016, and the plans and what's going on with that. The committee, under Laura's direction as the rodeo director for finals this year, has done just an amazing job in getting everything lined up. We seem to be on track on those things. I'm going to introduce Laura to you. You all know her. She'll discuss rodeo, what's going on. One thing that I want to stress to the board of directors and the board of trustees, some numbers from last year. Almost 50% of the IGRA trustees did not show up at their own finals rodeo. This is not our rodeo. This is not our committee's rodeo. This is your rodeo. When we get into marketing, advertising, sales, we need your help. This committee can't do it on its own. Each of you have a Facebook account, I'm sure. Post something about finals. Do it once a month. Do it every other week. Anything. Pick an item, post it, put something out there. Something you may have seen on our website, on the IGRA.com website. We need your help there. Again, we're doing our side to meet the budget guidelines that were agreed by this board, but we need your help to reach those budget numbers. Hotel, based on last year versus this year as of today, We're down 120 rooms from where we were last year. A cause for concern.
Room nights.
Room nights. That's a cause for concern at this stage of the game. It's twofold. There's the excitement of Vegas last year and being a new venue, so forth, so on. This is our 30th anniversary. We need to pump that. History shows us that we have gone from when we went to Fort Worth. It was our 25th anniversary. That rodeo, we'd gone from a $476 profit in Laughlin, moved to Fort Worth. It was the 25th anniversary. We jumped to a $6,500 profit from that rodeo. The next 3 years went down 1,000, down 7,700, down 4,800, until we went to Vegas and it was at 11. We think we can capitalize and keep that number up there in Vegas this year at South Point by promoting the 30th anniversary. As the committee chair, I'm a numbers guy. You've seen that last year. I am strictly a numbers guy. Hotel rooms, room nights are down. We need your help in promoting it. Not that it's in Vegas, not that it's in South Point, a beautiful facility, but it's our 30th anniversary. Bruce talked about numbers and associations going away. We need your help. It's your rodeo. We're tasked with putting it on and producing it and hopefully making it profitable, but that's about where it stops. Again, it's your rodeo. We need your input, what you like to see, what you don't want to see, what you liked, what you didn't like, or avenues that maybe myself, Laura, or anyone else in the committee or the directors can start working on and focusing on so we can go forward with that. I'll turn it over to Laura so she can go through her numbers, where we're at and what the committee's been doing or her assistant directors have been doing.
Because I am also a numbers person, we've got a couple of numbers that I think are really important. We finally got the contract signed with Corona Extra, which was a great thing. So thank you, Corona, for coming on. And I just got confirmation yesterday in the email, David, I'll get with you to invoice LVCBA for the $10,000. So thank you to LVCBA for that. That brings our total thus far to $37,500 for sponsorship. And we still have a few months to go. The one area on here that is different is the shoot sales. Last year, I sold all of the shoots to one company for $6,000. 3,000 of that was sponsorship dollars. The other 3,000 covered the cost of the shoots. So I'm still trying to work out that with a couple of different people. But like I said in the last meeting, I think that we are pretty close to where we're going to be last year. Yes, David?
What is the dollar amount with Corona?
Corona is $10,000. It's LVCVA is $10,000. Sinfire Whiskey is $500. D-Bar J is $500. Jack Daniels is $3,500. They're up $1,000 from last year. Gun Oil is $2,500. They went up $1,000 from last year. Corona Extra is $10,000. Barefoot Wine is a new one. They came on for $1,000 this year. Tito's Vodka is $5,000. Boot Barn went up $1,000. They're up to $2,500. Charlie's is $2,000. Medic West, our ambulance company, they provide their services to us for free because of a relationship that NGRA has built with them over the years. IFA Country Store, they donate our hay. So there's thinking about this in the future and a discussion that will happen after your break. Think about these things for the future of World Gay Rodeo Finals. Sponsorship in Las Vegas has been the reason we're successful. We need to marry that with the marketing to bring the butts in the seats, to make us successful there. That is our main goal right now, is how are we gonna do that? And like Robert touched on, it's all of our responsibility, every one of us. And so if you could, please, I'm asking you as the rodeo director, when you are on Facebook, it's easy to go over to WGRF's Facebook page and share something. It's easy to do. Please do it. Like you said, the hotel numbers are down. As of June 27th, we were at 106 room nights. But this has been a wacky year for rodeos. And I think that accompanied with, they're not sure if they're going to have the points to go to finals. Also, with Vegas being our second year, people they know what to expect now. They know that they could wait. They don't, we've got a lot more room blocks this year. So they know that they can wait a little bit longer. I'm encouraging you to get your rooms now, so we can have a better idea. So encourage your people, your memberships to get your
And the
rooms.
thing on the rooms, why that number sticks out, just whether you know or don't know, it's a thing for the committee. A lot of our contract this year changed from last year on hotels. Dramatically. We're based and locked in on room nights based off of last year's rooms that we sold. If we don't hit those numbers, there's some changes.
We were contracted at 250 room nights last year. We ended up with 820.
Okay.
So they contracted us this year based on that number, the 820, or thereabouts. Now, fortunately, for us to get the prices that we want, we only have to get 80% of that, but still, that's 80%.
80% is 700 and something, I believe was the
795,
final
I
number
think.
that they came with. But yeah, so that's why that number is important.
Just to clarify, was that number, the 120 less, is it the same time this time last year or?
It's the same time.
Same time this time last year.
We've got a sheet that shows the dates.
I asked Laura for comparison, and the hotel gave us the numbers currently through today, based on currently what they were last year through today, so same numbers. So, the video isn't out yet, it's being
Brian's
designed, it's
working on
being
it right
worked,
now.
Brian's working on that. Brian Helander did an awesome thing last year, that I remember going out on Facebook, inviting his personal friends to come join him in Las Vegas and watch the rodeo, and they weren't participants or contestants, but to come see finals. And that started, I seen 2 or 3 other people do. These are the types of things we need. Inviting, your people from your association. Join me in Las Vegas, let's celebrate, our 30th anniversary. Those are the types of Facebook posts that I think we need out there to generate the room sales and those types of things. If you generate the room sales, I guarantee you generate gate sales. We've seen it happen last year. So,
That's all about it.
that's it.
What's the group code for the South Point for the rooms?
It is WGR 1006, I believe. It's on the website. Let me find it for you.
The website's not coming up right now. Jeff Co's blocking it, so I was wondering. That's okay. I'll get it later.
Since this is the 30th anniversary of the IGRA Finals Rodeo, is there anything special being done to mark the anniversary of 30 years?
There is. We are working on a grand entry.
I got
We
you.
are inviting all past, David Smith out of California is going to be inviting all past finals winners, contestants, to participate in grand entry. Our program is dedicated to 30 years of IGRA finals. There's a lot of things that we are doing. When you walk into that arena, you will know it's the 30th anniversary.
Wow.
And
And
again,
before that, the video that Brian's doing is also dedicated.
And again, if you have an idea or a suggestion of something you would like the committee to consider for that 30th, that's just the information we want to hear, okay? It's your rodeo.
Yeah, the thing that comes to mind is not only recognizing the contestants for 30 years, but recognizing the volunteers and the long-term people that have been around for such an extended period of time, supporting those contestants and putting on these rodeos.
Well, and that's easy to, besides having a blurb in the program, thanking all of those volunteers and everybody who has had such an impact, but also anybody who's in that stance, anybody who's standing in those chutes. Take the applause from the people and thank these people for all of those years of their dedication.
Brian?
I'll pass for now.
Yeah,
Okay. Tom?
2 questions. One, does the Tourist Bureau of Las Vegas ever
LVCVA?
give donations?
Do they what?
Do they give donations?
They gave us $10,000.
They did?
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, the hotel, last year they had practically on every slot machine, they had a symbol.
They'll do it again.
They're gonna do it again?
Uh-huh.
Good, thank you.
Those will come out 30 days prior to rodeo.
They do it the month of the rodeo. And we're fortunate this year because the rodeo's a little bit later. We'll have a little more time in there for that.
Got it?
Yeah.
And one other thing on this year's rodeo, before you go on break, There are still 10 to 12 buckles still available for sale. There is still advertising in the program that is for sale.
That sheet, the blue sheet, the pink sheet.
The pink sheet that's out in front of you. There's an early deadline and cutoff this year, much earlier than last year, because we're trying to get in the Las Vegas Pride magazine. And they have, between 20 and 40,000 people in Las Vegas for Gay Pride weekend, which happens to be, lucky for us, our weekend also. So, if you're interested, a $500 ad in your program is gonna reach 40,000 people.
Yeah, it's
And
going to
to 6 or 7 states.
California,
Yeah.
Utah,
Colorado.
Arizona, Colorado, and Las Vegas. And it'll be out 50 days prior to the rodeo.
Okay.
The only other thing on the subject of room nights that you need to be reminded of is that it is one of the 3 sources of revenue potential we have, because we do get a 10% commission on room nights. So this affects our bottom line directly.
Absolutely.
So I've put out a few things to Pride. They don't have a distinctive hotel of their own. They have some hotels that they support, but they do not have a host hotel. So I'm putting it out there to people that if you want to come and stay at South Point, you'll be around a whole bunch of gay cowboys and cowgirls, and then go to Pride after you go to our rodeo. Because Pride is offering a half off their ticket if they come to our rodeo and they bring their rodeo ticket.
Lisa?
Would that be a good opportunity to put that in the program?
Of course.
Yeah. Let me write that down.
I know that they had committed to including us in their app.
Yes, it's been all,
So, I know we have some struggles. Is it on the app?
oh yeah, it's
now?
it's been on the app for, right after we started having problems. Brent has spent a lot of time with them. We're on their phone app, we're on their Facebook page, we are on their website, we're on all of their stuff.
So I know the MGM gets, I think it's MGM properties, they plug them a lot on their website, but is there any way that we could
Get on MGM's thing? I could talk to
get
James
on-
Ely.
Get onto their website as the official Pride Hotel. Because they're not really endorsing it.
Right.
So I thought-
I know that they do have our banner at all of their events, Pride when they go to other prides, and also at their bingos. They have their banner and they have ours right next to it.
Terry?
Is it possible to get some Facebook posts out that when we share, that I try to share everything I see that comes across my Facebook,
You did.
but that says for a wild weekend, we have Las Vegas Pride Weekend and rodeo going on at the same time.
We actually, I just did a conjoined kind of a thing that says enjoy both Pride and rodeo.
Yeah.
Promoting
Right.
rodeo #1, but also go to Pride in the evening and enjoy their evening activities, because their stuff goes on till 10 o'clock at night.
Because I've got friends all over the United States, and that might be incentive. It's like, oh, I can go do rodeo and Las Vegas Pride.
The Facebook post that I've seen referencing that is 2 events one weekend.
Yeah,
And I have
that's
seen that
exactly
out
what it is.
I
2
haven't
events
seen
one
it,
weekend.
so I'll look for it.
We're going to take a 10-minute break and return at 10 minutes after 11. We'll then resume with the World Gay Rodeo Finals Committee report.
Thank you for celebrating.
I think I'm sore from driving that truck all
Yeah, I don't have it.
But yeah, I just wanted
Just before we start.
Come on through. we had an old gentleman that I had just worked on.
Went off.
Puts on sweater. He jumps in and it's kind of like the sloth. Yeah. And making his way to the chair, and he just wants to grab it. $15,000. Oh, he can take all day. He can take all day. We got a call Chase for his activity. No, that's but you know, his daughter called me and said,
Did you stab one? You can.
No, I got a whole purse full of running with. They've been my new favorite snack.
And you know what, Kenny? 90% of the guys like all guys
I want to hear it.
But actually, I'm here.
That wasn't just the next thing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Specifically, I want to make sure
Sometimes it really works.
I know. It does seem to be. That's why we go on so well.
You're wanting it, say if we get 90 days of what?
what really bothered me is
90 days.
I would say probably 60 days because that's when they have to turn in their application, so maybe we can get everything at one time and just do one package. So when they send the application, they can send, they can send everything at one time. And mark the items.
It's not the official, not supposed to be the official.
They have to raise, they have to be required.
I was pissed at my son watching that whole was it Ken?
No longer even
Thank
included
you.
in the association.
Because there was
Because
I would like that to be but I did go down there and list.
Because the application has to be in.
Well, I thought also,
You still have to get email submitted anytime before then, but the deadline is 60 days.
Crazy. And I stand that.
Now, who actually puts the link on the website? Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because I was going through the rule. I highlighted it. Well, it specifies on here.
You want me to invoice
that
them
we
and
have
then
to put the competition.
I've got his, I've got it.
Form, which is already on it, but we have to put the form and standing rule 7 on a link for the candidates to be able to go to the IGRA and pull all that information.
Hey, Lisa, look what he's got down here.
So it has to be posted on the IGRA website at least 90 days prior to the royalty competition.
I love swings.
The responsibility is to have necessary information for the contest. And
Just
they
come back.
can see it on the IGRA website.
Are you calling for reference?
But I was wondering if there was a way we could put like the actual application and maybe schedule, like check-in is for registration is at 1 o'clock on Thursday. Competition starts at 7 p.m. Okay, because I know that Ron just redid the exhibit application. Right, just got it uploaded, right. So I just want that to be available so that when they go to that site, they can click on that application, pull it up, and see what the schedule of events is, and not have to go through it. Right.
How's Arizona? My answer is no.
You go to the website, locate right click on the link. Say copy.
I don't.
Can we order those here? I don't understand this.
Forgot who was putting it on red.
Is this on the wall? This white stick?
Yeah, and there's actually one right there.
So when they click on it,
But
it
I
automatically
missed the
turns
one
into
down here. That one that I made the mistake as well. I want to write it. No,
Sounds good.
I did it to you.
Good, good, good.
It's stacked. If you look at it, but it's not staggered. It's not staggered. And the reason I staggered it was because I hate the way it looks. It's stacked. It's the
Because it
optical
just looks like a
illusion.
block?
Well, no, it's an optical illusion. It's crooked. Because of the shape of the
That'll
we
do it.
put IGRA, there's
Not a good way to lose
four
money.
letters. That would be the only way to make it.
Now I have to go buy new jeans to see it.
But if you look at the color, even though they're both four-letter words, they don't land right under each other. And I could not fake a land. Right. And so
And I forgot my shirt.
and that way I staggered it. I really like the stagger. It's just something different. And what
I'm not a fan of the stagger, but I love that.
we would have to, we could do it online, but we would have to make it, we would have to change something small because I can't go that, the letter on that side, if you put those side by side, that side will
Right there with you.
too long, so we go on the smaller.
Taking care of my 84-year-old father, which is making me old.
Yeah, I wrote down where that is.
I actually decided I liked it. Remember I did I was getting the logo, but I wasn't getting
This logo is just,
Oh, isn't it beautiful? There's issues with that logo.
Oh my God.
We have had so many problems because
I'm glad you figured it out. Pretty and smart.
So it was invoiced on June 30th. Okay. I've already emailed Adam and I told him, I said, and what they paid already made plans, I'll pay you this weekend for Keystone.
Why pay for it again? Food for thought.
And
Make it shut
well,
down.
from a marketing standpoint, it's been difficult.
It's a Starburst. And it's the insurance that was in the fancy dancy artwork. That
From the IGRA.
No, I think we've already paid that.
Yeah.
I'm here, Mr. President. Where's it coming from?
Thank you. Moving up.
Well, Heather's the one who originally sent you because IGRA has for the font, never for this.
I had it all set up, ready to go. I went to sleep.
Well, only for registered trademarks.
it is 11 after 11. I reconvene this meeting of the Board of Directors of the International Gay Rodeo Association. Please gather your snacks and drinks and resume your seats. While you reassemble, I'll just call to your attention this shirt behind me. This is what we propose as the shirt for the Pride Parade on Friday night at WGRF. Those who have red shirts already obviously are welcome to wear what they have, but we wanted to create a new shirt specifically to celebrate the 30th and to provide for those who don't already have a red shirt. It has the IGRA logo, it has WGRF on the sleeve, and it has the 30th anniversary logo on the other sleeve. Jean can take orders for you, you can have your name or not. I've asked them to add, at additional cost, Team IGRA on the back. I really like that in the day game, so I'll be wearing it tomorrow, you can see it up close and personal.
Then everybody can be a judge.
I'm not the one who picked red. We'll turn it back over to our WGRF presentation at this time.
Okay, so that's basically it on 2016, and we're gonna spend this next few minutes, hopefully, on World Gay Rodeo Finals 2017 and beyond.
Before we go on,
Sure.
would it be possible that we get some information on World Gay Rodeo Finals on our IGRA.com website with a link?
I've asked for the link to be put on the front. I know that the front page has gone through a couple of different
Frank's here, let's.
issues, but I've asked for a link on here, and he said closer to it.
I mean, it'd be great if we had
This.
the logo.
Flashy
Yes.
logo or something for 30th anniversary.
Frank, make it happen.
We could just
No.
ask if you would.
I actually have. We can't do it.
But can it be where it's already
Frank, is
on
that
there?
something we can get the logo on there where it's a click-on icon that takes you to our website?
On the
To
main page.
the,
On the first
on the
page.
main page?
You mean over here?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, is it possible anywhere there we can put an icon that, a click on that takes you over to WGRF,
Well, to
IGRA?
be honest, I believe after this weekend, it's gonna appear at the bottom of the list.
Coming events.
Oh,
But,
I see,
just
upcoming
the
events.
text. What we'd like actually is the logo.
It doesn't really, because of the way the site is constructed. I'll try and see what I can do with it.
Can
I'm
you
not
get with
sure.
Laura before this weekend's over and maybe you guys can come up with something that will work?
That's not the problem. The problem is the way this page is
Okay.
constructed. It's pulling data from another location. If I change the data that fits in here, it's gonna screw up the other side of the site. But let me see what I can do. I might be able to fit something in manually.
Appreciate it, thank you.
But like I say, I believe it will actually show up, right after.
Thank you, Frank.
So first of all, before we go into 2017 World Gay Rodeo Finals and beyond, my apologies to this board of directors, the board of trustees. This has been a year for me of life happens, okay? Things have changed business careers, added trucks, did this, that, and the other. I have not done the job that you probably expected of me, okay? Bruce and I have had that conversation, and I'll accept responsibility for that. I was to the point of even resigning because I didn't have the time that this required, and it really needs focus. Not only just finals rodeo, but the committee, how we choose judges and arena directors and all of those things, and how we build the program with new people, so forth, so on. It's a lot of work that needs to be done there. I can tell this board that's sitting here today that my life has now finally, thank God, reached the point where we're on a pretty even, steady keel, and I've been able to focus pretty heavy on this the last week or two. So I think going forward that we're okay, if the board is okay with that also. Hats off and a lot of appreciation from myself to Lisa on our committee, who has, along with me making phone calls and reaching out while I drive my semi up and down the road, who's done a lot of groundwork, legwork on packages and proposals that we receive from people. I believe each of you received this a couple of days ago. It's 40 pages, but it has every contract that we reviewed this morning as a committee. I do have a spreadsheet that I can look at and hopefully answer any questions as we go forward on those sites. As I put in the cover letter that I sent to each of you, those of you who may or may not have gotten it, and Bruce mentioned in his opening remarks how, planning forward and so forth, so on. Areas like Tulsa, Oklahoma, great facility, no dates available. Wichita, I looked at Wichita, moving it back there, indoor or covered arena, great camping, so forth, so on. The city and county is shutting the whole facility down, they're not making money. Whether we had come on board before and that would have been enough for them to continue operating, I don't know. It's hard to say. We can remain at South Point. If you want to stay at South Point, I have dates for South Point, first week in August. You wanna change our entire rodeo schedule to stay at South Point? We can do it. National Western Stock Show Complex here in Denver. They finally booked their schedule forward for 2017. The only dates available there, here in Denver, are in November. You know, it's doable with our schedule, but horse safety and people traveling with horse and trailers, it's not a great time of year to drive over the Rocky Mountains. Just saying. So these are all things that the committee looked at and went through. You have the 6 venues: Horseman's Park in Las Vegas, the Rawhide in Phoenix, the Expo in New Mexico, the Barton Coliseum in Little Rock, and then Penrose, Colorado Springs. As a committee, I talked to them as I'm going to talk to you the same way in coming up with our decision. We've had in the past individuals where finals isn't an event that we need to make money off of. A break even or $1 is a successful finals. I'm not sure that's the attitude we need to go forward, and I base that on the last 2 years in Las Vegas. We have a venue, a beautiful venue, and an area, a market that we can access $30,000 to $40,000 pretty easily, just in contacts, in generating sponsorship money. So that was considered. Does IGRA want to make a profitable rodeo? Whereas Bruce mentioned earlier, we have the funds available to stimulate the sport of gay rodeo with new contestants, so forth, so on. Or do you want to break even in facilities that we're not sure we can even cover and not have that money to go forward? So this is what, in the committee, I was stressing to them as we considered it. Some of these facilities are uncovered, some are covered. We did not look at facilities in an uncovered venue that is in the dead of winter, or that wasn't in climate accessible for us to be in there. So that's some of the things that we looked at when we looked at these venues. It is the recommendation of the committee. We did 2 votes. We narrowed these 6 down to your top 2 picks. And that vote came out for Horseman's Park, Las Vegas, and Rawhide in Phoenix. Speaking of Phoenix, I did spend a lot of time with the city of Scottsdale on their facility out there. We couldn't get dates. We could get the last weekend in November for 2017 and the first weekend in December for 2018. We could get those dates, the end of November. Wonderful city to work with. Amazing people. Called me all the time, had all these hotels, so on. But I didn't include them in this package because of those dates. So these were the 6. The first vote, we narrowed it down. The 2 that won were Horseman's Park and Rawhide. We took a second vote, and it's the committee's recommendation that 2017 be at Horseman's Park in Las Vegas.
Do you have a date for that?
There are 3 dates available.
Okay, we'll handle that separately then. You have the recommendation of the committee that in 2017, the World Gay Rodeo Finals be situated at Horseman's Park in Las Vegas. Is there any discussion on the recommendation of the committee? Candy?
I would strongly talk against this. I went through the years of an outdoor arena, and there again, it was in Phoenix, and we got flooded out. And I know the rule just says recommended, but I would hope that for our finals that we would use a coliseum. 1, for a nice environment, 2, that we don't have to worry about any kind of weather ruining our finals. So I strongly talk against that.
I believe I saw Frank's hand on the right.
Yeah. So basically what I'm hearing from the recommendation is that you're to remove it, that we're not going to get sponsorships, correct?
That is a concern of ours. The sponsorship dollars certainly help to make the rodeo profitable.
Okay. So basically the sponsors are from local vendors then, that we don't have like an actual national sponsor for it all.
Unless you call Jack Daniels a national sponsor,
Okay.
Corona Extra national
So
sponsor.
all those would still go wherever the rodeo would go?
Potentially.
Possibly.
Okay, so in my mind, this is just, to me, just, you know, takes a little bit of time for me to understand things. In Division I, there's 3 associations. Division II, there's 3 associations. So
There are 4 in Division 2.
okay, 4 in Division II.
So 7 out of the 20 are in that area. Little Rock is essentially located right deep in the heart of pretty much horse country, that these associations right there will help and help make it bigger and everything like that. So I don't, and get the whole feel, the excitement of it built up even more versus you're only having 7 on that side.
Thank you, Frank. Michael?
I'm good.
Brian Helander?
Well, I think going to an outside arena is an error. I think going to an outside arena is an error on our part. We have no control over the environment. We don't know what the weather's going to be. We can't predict it. It is our finals rodeo. And for me, people give to people. People come to the rodeo because of people that are involved. I think it's a mistake. So,
Tom?
I totally agree with Candy and Brian.
Guy?
Could you give a ballpark figure? You don't have to answer right this minute, but what the difference would be on the bottom line?
The arena cost at Horseman's Park is $5,500 a day.
500.
I'm sorry, $500 per day, $1,500 for the weekend. Barton Coliseum, Little Rock, $15,000.
For the whole weekend?
Correct.
The biggest,
But
We're answering
that's
that
not a fair
question.
price.
Was there something
Not fair.
on that question? Lisa?
I was going to say, that is not a fair comparison, because, you know, where you go to Barton Coliseum, you get your security, you get all this added stuff that you
Control.
may have to pay at another facility, the little ins and outs. Not to say it's not cheaper.
We are
Totally
answering the
covered.
question of the comparative cost between the venues. After that, I have a number of people on the line to speak. Anything further on the question?
I don't think they understood my question.
Okay.
Compare South Point to the committee's recommended venue. We made 11,000 last year. What would we really, if we had it there instead?
I missed the question.
he
Go ahead.
wants to know the difference between the money-making opportunities between South Point and
Projected
Horseman's Park.
revenue.
The main thing, and this, I don't honestly care where it's at. I'm not doing this because it's Las Vegas. I don't care. But what I do care about is, ideally, yes, I would love for it to be a covered arena. What I do care about is IGRA making money. And at Horseman's Park, it's the only facility with the capability for our own bar.
100% alcohol sales.
Have you arrived at any sort of projected figure that might address the difference in revenue potential between South Point and Horseman's Park?
It would cost the facility alone, you're looking 18,000 versus 2.
So you're suggesting a savings of about $16,000, which would be the bottom line in profit.
You'll have some additional security that we don't currently have at South Point because they provided under
The
the
entire
contracts over
venue, because I've been the rodeo director there so many times, the entire venue, which includes stalls and everything, we don't pay over $5,000 for everything.
So 5,000 compared to 18,000 leaves a $13,000 potential
on top of
difference.
any other profit.
So at the present time, that's the best answer we can give without being more direct in our budgeting.
We
All right.
didn't go
Guy, did you
through-
have anything further on your question?
I was kind of hoping that you would come up with a number. That's why I said you don't have to answer it right now. I see you keep trying to tell me, just come up with the ballpark.
Okay, and
We'll move to Terry.
I also going to agree with Brian and Candy. This is our finals, y'all. The outdoor arena, we have no control of the weather, no control of the heat, wind, everything, and it's gonna be hard to get people out there, because if you go to other outdoor arenas, it's hard to keep a crowd at any outdoor arena because of the weather. Most of them it's hot, they get tired, they get burned up. So this is our finals. We need a nice covered arena and make it, spectacular. That's the reason our finals have died over the years because most of them are like going to any other rodeo. And if it's outdoor arena, it's gonna be just like any other rodeo.
Roger, Jack?
I'm conflicted. I can see both sides. I just wanted to kind of give the other side of this, since everybody's kind of speaking against. I guess I'm on the fence, I'll admit that. I would probably be in favor though, just given the looking at weather averages for both Phoenix and Las Vegas. I just looked them up, mid-80s for both places in October, a quarter inch of rainfall. I'm not worried about an outdoor arena in these venues, and I think that as far as the weather is concerned, with Terry's point of the show, it does raise more of a concern for me. So I just wanted to throw that info out.
Thank you, Roger. Barbara?
I just think it takes a chance with weather, doing it outside. I think people work hard all year long to get to finals. Contestants spend a lot of money throughout the year getting there, and I think if you come to something like finals and it is rained out or there's bad weather, it just makes it more dangerous and more expensive, and you do lose the contestants, because not a lot of people will sit during the rain, and we have had it happen before, so that would be my concern.
Chuck is on the list. After that, I have no one on the list. However, if there is someone who wishes to speak in favor of the recommendation, that would be who I would recognize after Chuck. Chuck?
This is just to Robert and the committee. You know, thank you guys for the work that you did, and it's difficult, and you know, your options seem limited. But I believe that Albuquerque had a potential site with a covered arena. Was there a reason that was not considered, or?
It was considered. In the first vote, it received 1 vote out of the committee. And a lot of this probably could have been handled in committee if we had more participation in our committee. It was considered. It's probably the stronger covered arena as far as the committee's looking at. Price is $7,535 on that facility and stuff. Beautiful facility. The discussion in committee on that was, do we have an organization? And how difficult it is that for us as a World Gay Rodeo Finals Committee to produce a rodeo. Do we have the strength in the local association to do so? That was part of the consideration.
Can I ask you a question, Brian? Why did New Mexico Rodeo move from Albuquerque to Santa Fe?
Cost.
Because the Sheriff's Posse Rodeo was very successful. And when it got successful, the arena got a little greedy. They wanted more and more money for the arena. And we made a business decision to move it to a more affordable arena. And we've been very successful there. We have a strong association. And that was the reason. It wasn't just financial.
Because I've heard that part too.
And there's a large case.
Is there anyone else?
That's
I'm sorry, Brian, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm just asking thanks for the question.
I meant to give you a good chance to finish up your answer. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to the question of the recommendation to accept Horseman's Park as the location of the 2217 World Gay Rodeo Finals, particularly anyone who wishes to speak in favor?
Can I speak outside of the committee, Chair?
You certainly may speak on the subject of the recommendation.
Yes. I guess my question in reviewing all of these sites so personally, we were told a long time ago that the central location for IGRA and its contestants was Taos, New Mexico, or thereabouts, okay? Albuquerque's about as close to that centralized location that we were given at one time. As a contestant, and I'm going to speak as a contestant, I'm going to speak as a member of IGRA.
Speak quickly.
I don't know who we think we are anymore. That we require a covered facility. Are we so big and we're gaining associations and membership all across this country? Or is it time that we do a facility somewhere that is acceptable, the climate is acceptable, and that we generate revenue so that we can promote ourselves and rebuild this organization. And I guess that's where I lean to, is maybe it's time not to take a step back, but to realize who we are.
Time for debate has expired.
Thank you.
Move to extend.
It's motion to extend, it has been seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion to extend? All in favor of extending debate on the recommendation say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Time for debate is extended. We will be additional 10 minutes. If you want to finish anything, you're welcome.
I was probably pretty much done.
Okay. That's all right. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on the recommendation of the committee to accept Horseman's Park, who has not already spoken before? Michael?
My perception is that there has to be a balance between having a successful, profitable finals, but also having a finals that is reasonably appropriate for the contestants competing that have worked to get there. So I think we have to find, the goal is to find a middle ground, and where that middle ground is like finding a needle in a haystack. So
Amen.
It's a tough job.
Brian?
I agree it's a tough job. For me, this is a matter of mission over money. I totally agree as a board member sitting here that it's about money, but I also put more weight in the mission of the organization. And for me, to achieve the mission of the organization, it takes work by the board of directors to make the money to do the mission. And I think, from what I see, I feel we've lost the perspective on that. And for me, the lack of focus on the mission is a greater danger to our organization than the money. If we had a finals and a good finals and we made $1, that's better to me than making money and disenfranchising a whole group of people.
Chuck?
In looking at this, it says support for the Expo in New Mexico, and it says NMGRA question mark. Being that we have somebody here from NMGRA, can we hear from them? Because you had stated that you didn't have any support from them, or?
That's not particularly germane to whether we accept the proposal for Horseman's Park. It may become a question we may need to address.
Okay.
Tom?
The last two rodeos that IGRA held, we paid $27,000 to rent the facility, and that was low. I'm not worried about $14,000 or $13,000 difference.
Any further discussion on the recommendation? Guy?
Well, just to point out, I was looking here on some history, and it looks like on average in Las Vegas, it possibly will rain 3 days in the month. And those 3 days combined comes out to 8 millimeters of rain.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky.
I'm just putting the facts in there. And we didn't really get an answer to the question, but I would venture to think that we would probably make $40,000 or more on the bottom line. I mean, not more, but instead of 11, it would probably be closer to $40,000 on the bottom line.
Can I address that? Because it wasn't a task that the committee did, for the reason being, you also don't see hotels, you don't see other venues, things that, you know, can do. We didn't feel in wasting a whole lot of time in coming up with the bottom line numbers and so forth, because we don't even know where we're going.
I just know that at South Point, we don't get anything. We don't get revenue from food, beverage. We have to pay for all these shavings. The horse stalls are very expensive. I mean, yes, the facility's beautiful. That's not a free debate, but it's very expensive to us. We can't bring in our own water. There's so many things we cannot do.
Correct.
So I think we do need to look at finances. I don't think making $1, I mean, yeah, it's better than losing money, but, you know, how much longer are we gonna survive scraping the bottom of the bucket?
Any further discussion on the recommendation? Candy?
Can I make a point, and I don't know if you could check this also, but it's not just, the rain, it's also wind. And wind is a huge factor when you're roping and
Sure.
trying to run flags and
It's
poles
not
and
really
stuff
windy
like
in
that.
October there.
Okay.
It's not.
At all?
Our
Laura?
windy months are March and
Laura?
April. I'm just answering her
She
question.
didn't ask one.
Well, she did actually. She said she'd like to know about the
You
weather.
are out of it.
That's not unusual.
Okay. Just wanted to make that a factor too.
Any further discussion on the recommendation? Brian?
The other thing that concerns me is, we're a big association. We have, I personally have supported finals in Las Vegas. It was fantastic. But we're a big association. We have University in Vegas this year, or next year. Now we're looking at finals in Vegas in the uncovered arena. We're a huge association. We can support other associations, other communities.
Is there any further discussion on the recommendation?
I can go that route.
You do not have an endless limit of opportunity to address the board.
Well, as soon as everyone else has answered that. Can I have one more? Make it quick. Was that a yes? I'm just gonna go on, okay. One other thought, Brian, with that in mind. The reason we didn't get the South Point contract, so not enough horses, so forth, so they can sell those and make a lot more money, this, that, and the other. Luckily enough, they gave us some dates that we could have used, if that's where we wanna stay, so on. For me, as a committee chair in reviewing this and looking at the choices that were there, we are a great organization and a strong organization. And I think staying in the Las Vegas market allows us the opportunity to get into some of those hotels and so forth, so on. The Orleans, which didn't return calls, so forth, so on, for 6 months. But staying in that market allows us to get back into those types of facilities where we actually do belong.
Is there any further discussion on the recommendation of the committee?
8.1 miles per hour.
There being no further discussion, all in favor of the recommendation of the committee to go to Horseman's Park in 2017 for finals rodeo, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
The nays have it. We will not accept that recommendation. Does the committee at this time have an alternative recommendation for the
Committee wishes to reconvene.
Very well. Despite the fact that that was rather a difficult choice, we do appreciate your work.
Oh,
I
no
think
sweat off my,
if there's any takeaway from the discussion, it is that the primary concern is covered arena versus not covered arena. You knew that might become an issue. And the other then is whether or not Vegas as a location also serves our purposes. That came out to me as a secondary consideration. Will the committee anticipate being able to give us further information today?
Sure.
If you can, great. If you can't, that's
At
great
what
too.
time would you like?
Well, we're gonna have to break for lunch here shortly, but I'd say maybe 1 o'clock would be an excellent,
1 o'clock would be a
no,
wonderful
actually,
time for a
2 o'clock would be the latest, between 1:30 and 2. You'll have to meet elsewhere though.
You'll have the recommendation of Albuquerque on your desk.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll move on for now. The Hall of Fame Committee. Written report and no action items. No further action from the Hall of Fame Committee at this time, not unexpectedly. There is no report from the Marketing Committee. The Membership Committee did not have a written report. Wade was with us earlier. Wade, there you are. Okay.
Like you said, there was actually no report, but there is a lot of interest, and I'm kind of blown away by how much interest there's been on the IGRA. I'm one of the moderators, and all the people that are interested in seeing IGRA stay in Canada. I think we're going to kind of have to wait and see. Nothing can be done yet, but there is some huge interest, and I've spoken with one of the people that from there that's wishing to move forward with another association with the formers and with some new and trying to make something happen. And one of the first people within just I mean, literally within minutes of IGRA posting something about that, responding back, please, no, what can we do? Can we help them? And so there's a huge interest out there. It looks like that we're gonna have to wait and see what happens within the next few months. But also we're trying to set up a meeting with the folks from Mexico, and there's some huge interest there. We don't know how it's gonna work, and but we're moving forward, and I really am, and I express to you guys about looking outside the box of what you've done for 30 years and checking into some new ideas. I think one of the things that we need to look at too is when I started with IGRA, I think the participation with straight people was less than 10%. And I think if we looked at it and actually sat down and looked at the numbers, we're probably more at 40% now with some of our straight competitors. We need to look at that when we plan our activities for our rodeo, and we're including these people and they're coming, that they need to be able to be included within the whole weekend, awards, everything. So that's just something to put out there. With membership, we have so many of these straight families and straight groups coming into our organization. Maybe we need to look at some more family friendly, not just within our community, but outside of our community as well.
Anyone have any questions for Wade and the membership committee? I have one, Wade, and that is specifically, what do we need to do between now and 45 days from now with any of these associations that are potential out there to help prepare them for any action they might want us to take at convention? Because we do have a timeline that uses them.
Well, and I guess I don't know what the legal ramifications and all of that are going on with Canada right now and how we can even move forward.
IGRA is, what has happened with IGRA has no effect on anything else.
Okay.
So you have a blank slate.
Well, they hope to have something back to me within the next 2 weeks. As far as Mexico, we're trying to set that up. You know, when they say in Mexico, un momento, I mean, that can be 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 week. and the language barrier is getting better, and we have, there's supposed to be some people from the Vaqueros here this weekend at this rodeo.
Well, let's make it a point to meet with them, because the one thing we need to impress upon them is that we only have certain opportunities to act on this, and we're approaching our one chance this year.
Right.
Okay, terrific. Thank you for that. Anything else for membership? Thanks, Ray.
You're welcome.
Do we have a report from the nominating committee? No report. Just a reminder that the nominating committee will be interested in hearing from anybody who wishes to seek an IGRA office in the upcoming elections. And with that, we'll move to the public relations report.
It was also written, that was distributed, and Ryan just basically outlined an activity summary from May 27th through July 5th. No action.
Any questions with regard to the PR report that was distributed? Very well, and again, thanks to Ryan. You may not realize how much work and effort he does on our behalf, literally on a daily basis. He monitors any commentary that might bring up key phrases like gay rodeo or animal welfare and things like that. So he's constantly on the lookout for things that might affect us. Rodeo officials, Ron Presley.
Sent a written report, so really nothing other than to say that in the trustees meeting today, we'll be recommending 2 people for certification. And I did just get an email recently, that's not on the report, from somebody interested in entering the scorekeeper certification program.
Do we have a report from Rodeo Rules?
None.
I wouldn't expect one at this time, but Ron, can you remind us of the date on which proposed changes to the bylaws, standing rules, and rodeo rules are due 60 days prior to convention?
Yes, 60 days prior to convention.
The date, do you know the date?
Not offhand.
It should be a Tuesday in September.
Oh, here, where's my schedule over here? 17th. 20th, I think.
18th through the 20th.
Okay, 18th. So September 18th is the Sunday.
Which, the calculation should actually run to a Tuesday.
Okay, then that would be September 20th.
Okay. We believe September 20th is the date on which all proposals are due in the respective committee chairs' hands. We have a report on university.
The written report and no action items, but they are encouraging for sustainability of the event. We need the support of the entire board of directors. Encourage your local boards, memberships, royalty to attend. If you have suggestions for course content or suggestions for instructors, please contact Andrew Goodman. And the new IGRA University site will launch August 1st.
Does he indicate in that report the deadline date for hotel booking?
Yes.
Oh, I think it's December for the hotel.
Yeah, it's December. It's not in the report, but it is December, something from our previous meeting, so it'll be on the website. It's around mid-December there.
Recall that the deadline date for registration for hotel registration for university is mid-December and immovable. There will be no, oh, we got 3 extra days or an extra week. On that date, the hotel rate quits. Do you have a report from Women of Gay Rodeo?
None.
With respect to the Archives Committee, I have asked Frank Harrell to retain a membership on the committee, but I have asked Tom Lott to assume the duties of the chair at the present time. This is a recent development. Tom, are you prepared to address the board on anything with regard to archives at this moment?
I am, in fact. The archives continue to grow. We're getting programs from the rodeos. If, in fact, we don't attend your rodeo, mail us 5 programs, and I will reimburse you the mailing expense, so we can get it in the archives and keep them there. Yesterday, we received a 1993 buckle, which is gorgeous. So that's growing. The last thing I want to say is, in the last month, there has been an interest, which I find astounding. Sorry. The Smithsonian Institution wants to take some of our archives and put them on display with the nation. That is phenomenal.
And on that subject, we're intending to coordinate our efforts with those of the Gay and Lesbian Rodeo Heritage Foundation, to see to it that that is accomplished. It is going to require some funding, which they've committed to help provide. It may be necessary or possible that IGRA will also need to assist in providing some funding for that if we are able to go that way. Essentially, what the Smithsonian Institution has offered is the opportunity to have a curated selection of about 30 cubic feet, I recall, of the most significant items that tell the story of gay rodeo, whether they come from our association or elsewhere. So it's vital to conceive of those particular items that best tell the story, the most unique things that have a significance in our history that would be part of this. Some of them may be part of our archives today, and some of them may not. There may be treasured pieces that people have not yet elected to give up to our care for various reasons, but they may be much more interested in something of significance residing in a permanent, fixed location within the Smithsonian Institution. I hope you appreciate the gravity and the significance of that invitation as, where else would you want to be, right? Tom?
We need to select the story that we tell. That's going to be most important.
And at the present time, we conceive of this as probably a couple years project to bring it to fruition. Isn't that about right?
Yes.
What else would you like to report on?
Nothing else.
Well, that's pretty good.
I have something for you. I actually have a DVD of the very first IGRA Board competition.
Really? Would love that.
Does anyone have any questions about the report of the Archives Committee? Frank, I want to thank you for your work in leadership on the Archives Committee, and more importantly, your interest and willingness to continue your work in cataloging and preserving the items for us. And Tom, thank you for agreeing to step in and provide the leadership for the committee in the future.
Thank you for making the change.
Arena crew coordinators, do you have a report from Cammy Bowles?
No.
Very well. Health and safety, Roger Jack, who has conveniently gone to fix our lunch.
And he had no report, he said.
Thank you. New member recruitment, Sonny Kerner's not available. Sonny has spent a great deal of time out of the country handling rather significant affairs, which necessarily require his undevoted attention. He and I are talking about how to proceed with this, because this is something I think we definitely need to continue and refine in terms of what we've done. We're beginning more slowly than we had hoped to have reaction and response to the initiatives we adopted at last convention with regard to matching funds for the rodeos, for World Day Rodeo Finals, for rough stock, and for rodeo schools. So we are getting response to them. We will not have enough data to make an intelligent analysis by the time we get to convention, so I'm suspecting we're going to look for a way to continue this into the future so that we can refine what we're doing. I will point out one thing for you to take away from this meeting today. This rodeo is the first to accept the challenge of the rough stock riding matching funds. There's $1,500 on the table this weekend for men's and women's bulls, broncs, and steers. Presently, there are no registered contestants for broncs, but last year there was a walk-up contestant for this rodeo, so we may still see somebody. But no matter what happens this weekend, we know that not all of that prize money will be awarded. I would anticipate that at least $1,000 of the $1,500 will roll in this prize pool to the very next rodeo that chooses to participate. Currently, no rodeo has identified that they are planning to participate in this. So if they participate, the $750 that they wrangle locally, plus the $750 that IGRA would match, plus the 1,000 or so that rolls over from this weekend, would take $2,500 into the next participating rodeo. All right, we have a report on nonprofit transition, and would you go ahead and present that, Ron?
A brief overview of the last meeting was just simple. From convention, they've been working with CPA about suggested changes to bylaws, which some were done at convention. Critical importance, update for the board. After several attempts to contact the CPA who provided suggested changes to IGRA bylaws, I was able to talk with her. Telecom meeting set up for next Tuesday to go over next steps and preparing for C3 application submittal. And for your information, this CPA firm just finished assisting NGRA with submitting their application. Report submitted by Frank Mazzo.
Any questions on that? Very well, we'll move to the social media. John Hill did not get his report in earlier, but he did provide a written report to me and Ron for forwarding, and I will have to read it out to you because I'm becoming familiar with it for the first time. First off, please accept my apologies for not being there today. I recently started a new job, and I'm very limited with time off in the short term. Secondly, I would like to acknowledge that IGRA's social media presence has not been as robust the past 6 months as I would have liked it to be. I don't believe it is productive to go into detail about what happened, but please know that I have been conscious of it and am taking steps to address my schedule to have it be a higher priority going forward. At the January board meeting, I asked that all trustees, this is important, please send events and items of interest to the IGRA community to me, that would be to John Hill, so I can help promote their events. Unfortunately, I have received no content from any associations to share, which leads me to search sites and Facebook pages for content. To your association send content, I will make sure to share it out in an appropriate platform. His email is cgrajohn, common spelling, @gmail.com, or you can send content to the IGRA Facebook page and we will share it from there. Laura Scott has expressed an interest in creating an Instagram account for IGRA, and I support this idea, so we will work together on making this happen. Unfortunately, platforms that are more mobile-driven like Instagram and Snapchat are more difficult to allow multiple people to access. We're looking at ways to make this happen since it is impossible for one person to be at every IGRA and IGRA affiliated event. Once we get this platform worked out, we will then look to see if Snapchat is an option, as I promised in January. Snapchat is tied to a phone number, so this will be more difficult to work out, but we'll also look at making that available. If you have any feedback for John, please let him know, and he'll be happy to take it into consideration. Any questions on his report? Very well. It is 11:57. I don't mind giving you an extra 3 minutes for lunch. We'll go ahead and recess. Do you want 45 minutes and return at 12:45, or do we need an hour so you guys can rest without fresh air or whatever? Hour it is. See you at 1. And remember to thank Roger Knapp and CGA.
I would have 15. 15. I said it there one day. It depends what you like. Some people want. I was giving you 3 times the amount of time I take to meet you.
Where is
It's the great pumpkin.
Yeah,